Welcome back to Massappeal. I know, men, sometimes you suffer from blemishes, sometimes you got some redness, maybe you even have a beard that just doesn't come in right. So joining us with tips, we have Leandra Rivera, the owner and head artist, Makeup by Lay. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we're breaking down some barriers, some boundaries today, but I think it's a fact. You know, everybody who you're watching on TV, myself included, everybody wears makeup.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we're trying to do, is just break down those gender barriers and make people feel a lot more comfortable. If they have some issues with the skin, feel free to cover up if you'd like. And it could just be your own little secret. You don't have to feel obligated to explain wanting to cover up your blemishes.
Exactly, and you know, you go out and you see some people, if you have those blemishes, it's unfortunate but true, people they look at those. So if we can eliminate those, people can focus on what's inside, you know what I mean, and not the outward appearance. So let's start. How are we going to fix the blemishes on our friend here today? Who do we have here, by the way?
Well, this is Miles, and as you can see, his skin is fairly clear, but you still want to cover up certain areas here and there. I know some of the key points that men focus on are the under eye bags, the sparse facial hair, which is normal, and just the even tone of the skin.
See, I wear makeup every day, but I still can't kick these under eye bags, and I'm exhausted all the time. How do I fix these? Well,
you usually want to start off with a cream-based foundation or a concealer, and that's what we've done so far with him, just covered underneath this this right eye closest to me.
Oh, I see.
And you want it to be very, very subtle. That's the key to male makeup, is for it to be very subtle. So what I'm going to start with is just to showcase how we cover that. And as you see, I just put a little bit underneath.
It's fascinating, this difference is something.
This here is a wet sponge, and the wetness on the sponge just allows it to blend better with the skin.
The other thing too, before someone starts a routine like this, men and women, we have so many different skin complexions and colors. How do we determine which foundation to buy? Because you see the makeup stores and there's hundreds and hundreds of different colors.
Yes, I always say the best way to try it out is to try it on your chest. That's usually where the light hits, and it's most comparable to the color of the face. So that's usually the best bet. Also, obviously, just to try on the face if you're able to, just to see how it blends and looks on the skin. And finally, snap a picture of yourself. The camera never lies.
Great idea.
So it's a good way to kind of check and make sure everything is even and everything is blended.
Looking good, Miles.
Okay. And it's very, very simple. Another thing, like I mentioned, is the sparse facial hair. So this here is just a spoolie. And you
a spoolie?
Yes, a spool.
Do ladies use that on their eyebrow area?
On their eyebrow or mascara, or their eyelashes. Yep.
I get it. I've seen this before.
So you could use this and just to tame the facial hair right here on this side of his face. I already darkened it. If you could just turn your face a little bit.
Oh, not
to
me.
show.
I was going to turn my face for a second.
And on this side, it's a bit darker, but it still looks natural. You don't want a super defined line right above the lip. So the way you achieve that is you just take a nice angled brush. Just for a little bit of a darker pigment, I like to wet the brush just a little. And then you could just brush that right in there. And it's not super noticeable.
But it looks much fuller.
Yes, but it gives you more of a defined line.
And I think a lot of people too, there's certain places that they can't grow facial hair. So if you could comb it through and comb it in, then it's going to make life a whole lot easier.
Yes, most definitely. Now once you do that, sometimes it's not as noticeable. So you could also highlight around it. Now this is a little trick that us makeup artists do to define our eyebrows and different parts of the face. So you just take that same color.
This is the stuff you use for the under eyes?
Yes.
Okay.
Now this looks very extreme right now at the moment.
That is true. Yeah, don't go out like that.
Not at all. But as you can see, after I blend it.
Look at that. It really makes the facial hair pop.
Yes, and it just defines what you just laid down with the brush. So that way you could kind of have fun with your look and just make everything look as perfect as possible.
Now I imagine if you want to give yourself a full-on beard, these techniques might be a little bit difficult.
Well, there are different ways. They now offer bison for the face, which is more of like a paint that tends to be a bit more, not permanent, but it's semi-permanent, so you're able to wear it out and things like that. But you still want to use certain blending techniques, because I've seen some people use it and use it very liberally over the face, and sometimes it doesn't look as realistic. So the best part is, especially for male makeup, is to keep it toned down and keep it as natural as possible, but still accentuate those certain features that you want to accentuate.
Now, let's say I have a blemish.
Yes.
Full disclosure, you know, like I have a little bit of red splotches right around here.
Yes.
How does one, if someone wanted to do it at home, how do they get rid of it?
Well, you would want to take a wet sponge, and that will help it blend into the face.
So same foundation and everything?
Yes, you could use the same foundation. Usually with women, we like it lighter underneath the eyes. So you would go with a little bit lighter, but for men, you could use the foundation overall because you just want more of an even tone as opposed to highlights and contours.
Now, when you say foundation, because so far we've been putting it in smaller areas,
yes,
we don't necessarily need to take a run through our whole face, do we?
No.
It's just for spot marks.
Usually, yes.
Okay.
You want to be careful with that with photography. That's why I always suggest to snap a photo because sometimes if it is too spotty, it's noticeable.
I get
so
you.
You always want to apply the makeup and then blend into the skin tone so it can be more even so it's not too spotty.
Leandra, always a pleasure and nice work too. You didn't even need the makeup. You look like $1 million. Anyways, if you want more beauty tips, men, women, hair, makeup, all of that jazz, mymassappeal.com, that's where you go.